Many would argue that video game culture has taken the mainstream by storm, leaving traditional hobbies and pastimes behind. Even though gamers have accepted this shift from a literary age to a heavy audio-visual dreamlike era, views and opinions about this new lifestyle leaves many people divided on the issue. Games like Dungeons & Dragons, Warcraft, and Magic the Gathering require much more preparation and are often much more time-consuming than most recreational games on the market. The participants in this documentary were kind enough to elaborate on their experiences by expressing their own personal interests by comparing them to what others expect from them.
In terms of how much I play and what I play and my knowledge about it, yeah, I'm sort of in a subculture, but generally not as big as others. I don't spend like a whole week just sitting around clicking on stuff. Oh, here we go, shooting. I guess I've always been sort of a sarcastic comic book reading kind of guy who's into different kind of music. I think that's something that could attract different people. Come on in. How you doing? Hey, how you doing?
I got you. I finally got you.
Yeah.
All these years you took on my bags.
I was thinking about it.
It's already, you've already racked everything up already? Damn.
Yeah, it was kind of a light week.
Really? Like how light are we talking though?
Well, I don't know, pretty light.
Oh, sweet internals. You always got to be careful because there's usually maybe one thing you miss and it's really going to bug you later that you didn't get it when you did. But the weird thing is this is pretty much it today, so let's go check out.
1845.
This is a rarity for me. I only pay with $120. Your comic books nowadays, $2.99. That might be a bit expensive, but you can't really put a price on something you love. I don't like getting like football games, basketball games. I figure if you actually do that stuff in real life outside, you shouldn't really buy it. It just kind of demeans the value of actually doing it. Stuff like Gears of War, I'm not going to fight aliens with a machine gun or a chainsaw blade. It's just something a bit different, a bit more interesting that I haven't tried before that I'm interested in doing. And one of them, they go to an auction. It says, "This is the skull of Buddy Hackett. We will auction it now at $50,000. And the guitar player's like, "Oh, I'm buying that. $50,000. They even have one episode where they try to do comedy, and James Hetfield does a guest voice as their comedy coach. And he looks like an old sea captain with an Irish accent. The one thing I hear about World of Warcraft is you're not that social with people anymore. You sort of lose track of your friends, and I do not want to do that, because I actually do value hanging out with my friends and having a beer with them more than I would just sitting in and playing a video game."
Seth is far from being the only recreational gamer within the same zip code, but the residents that reside here have a more communal gaming experience.
I can't play the guitar, but I'd like to think I can. I think it might inspire some people to actually pick up the guitar too and, you know, give it a shot. It's a total hobby. Like, I mean, it's definitely not something that we need to do every day.
Right now, I'm playing Guitar Hero, the good old PlayStation 2. This is the expert mode. I'm going to play Thunder Kiss 65 by White Zombie. I love reading, but I don't like taking the time to sit down and actually just sit there and read. I don't know. It's just not one of my things. But when I feel like I play like one of those games, it's just kind of like, you know, a 50-hour long book that you read.
Any video game just kind of gets your mind off of it for a while. Just kind of takes you don't have to think about everything else. You just kind of get to think about what you're trying to accomplish in the video game.
That was not one of my best. But Drew's a lot better anyway. He just makes this look easy. And that's why I hate him.
That's why I'm a guitar guy. No.
You have more of a generation now of people playing games, and it's not necessarily considered like something that people despise. I guess the shame part comes from it is the separation between the people who make it their life and the people who make it like an activity.
Build a model or build a ship in a bottle or, you know, any number of the hobbies that have taken place over the years, done a puzzle, but that's one activity for, you know, hours and hours and hours, and once you're done, yeah, you've completed the puzzle, but what do? Start another one?
Let's say sports is your hobby. I think you're going to get more of a positive attitude towards you say I go out and I go play football or basketball or any kind of sport. You're going to get more praise for doing that than per se I'm the best video gamer that you'll ever know.
Schwinn Beach Cruiser bike over here with baskets. And here it is. I got the green one. Forever, growing up in the suburbs, it was important to have a mountain bike. Why do I need a mountain bike? Because first, I don't live by any mountains, and I don't really plan to. And why conform to everybody else and just get another mountain bike? Some people will make fun of you for it and say that it looks like the bike from Wizard of Oz. We don't really care what anybody thinks about us because we're going to do what we do anyways, and if I choose to ride this bike, I'm going to ride this bike. If I choose to play a certain game, I'm going to play that certain game.
I went with some friends out to a Buffalo Wild Wings back where I live, and in the corner there were like 4 people with all their laptops up playing World of Warcraft, and like they weren't necessarily dressed up, but I mean, I'm going to make a stereotype here and say, you know, they were like your stereotypical geeky nerd type of person. You know, they wear the sunglasses, you know, greasy hair, the works.
How do you spell noob?
Noob. A noob is somebody who is like me. You know, you don't know what you're doing. I just pwned 2 noobs, baby. You don't know, you know, a lot about the game. And, you know, and you're always asking questions. That's what they call a noob. I've been called a noob almost every day that I play. There's so much stuff going on in my life that I pretty much would just get in there and it would just give me something. Like, I'd put on my headphones and it would just be me, you know, doing this. And I would kind of, I guess, live through what I was doing in the game. I played about 40 hours a week-ish. Could be more, could be less. Just kind of depends on, you know, what I was doing while I was playing. How much I was working, how drunk I was getting, how many drugs I was taking, so. People outside of the game that don't play, you know, that just see me playing it, know that I play, they're like, you know, they think it's funny, you know, because one, they would never see me playing a game like that, and, you know, two, because they don't play the game, they kind of, you know, like, oh, he's a computer geek, you know, but honestly, I don't know shit about computers either. It's humorous for me to listen to some of these people and, like, you know, listen to a 40-year-old guy say, let's go get that guy. Oh, there's one sneaking behind the tree, you know. It's humorous for me to listen to a 45-year-old guy that sounds like that.
Curiosity led me to wondering what others might think of gaming habits. So, I asked them.
Okay, yes, I played World of Warcraft for about, I'm gonna go with 3 months. I loved it because it was just fun. It's something that took time away from the hectics of college life. And yes, I was made fun of it for it. I was made fun of for it, but you know what, I really didn't care because I became 4 levels in one day and it was amazing.
You know, the weather has just now gotten really nice the last month or so, and they refuse to go outside and do any sort of outdoor activities. They'd rather sit at their computers and play, you know, the video game for hours on end.
I know that there's levels you have to beat, and I saw my friend kill a dragon. That's pretty cool.
Well, I know there's like a lot of stereotypes that exist, like the outcasts and the weird kids, but I know a lot of people that are pretty intelligent, and people would be like, oh, there's no way they play that game because they're just so normal.
Do you know the games World of Warcraft, or Magic?
No, I never heard of any of them.
Usually those people are pretty nerdy. I mean, I consider myself kind of a nerd though, but I mean, that's just like video game culture in itself. It's like a nerdy thing, I guess.
This is one of the original monster manuals from Dungeons & Dragons, circa mid-70s, which includes substantial imagery of things like demons, ritual sacrifice, devils, demonic tomes, hell, etc.
Scott is a dungeon master, making him the most important member in his Dungeons & Dragons campaign. Once a week he goes to Subversion, a dance club in Champaign, Illinois, where he meets his friends that share his similar interests.
Today, if I were to go to people and say, hey, we're getting together on a Saturday night and playing Dungeons and Dragons, you know, you'll get many, many amused smirks from people.
That's good. Hot though. I started playing Magic around probably junior high when me, my brother, and a couple of our friends decided to get really into the game, and we started playing around. These games differ from most other media outlets like video games and stuff where it's much more customizable. There's a large card pool, and every time you play, you compete against each other. It's a much more personalized contest in the fact that you sit across from each other, and it's much more interactive in the fact that you're actually holding the cards, moving them, going back and forth. This is more of a subculture in the fact that you can't do it by yourself. I mean, you can play like solo games by yourself, but that doesn't encompass what the game is supposed to be about. You're supposed to, get out there, go to the brick and mortar shops, go to online and play against other people. And as you play against other people, with prolonged contact, playing with them enough, you're eventually going to be friends with them, absorb their interests, do other things like that until just basically the amount of time that you spend interacting with them kind of creates the culture of it. Magic has gotten a lot easier since the advent of the internet because you can just go on there like to ABU, which is a site called Alpha Beta Unlimited that just sells cards, and since they're a website and they're centralized, they can just have people send them, and you can even trade online to this site where they give you X amount of money for trade stock, and then you send them trade stock and then they credit your store account for how much that trade stock was worth, and you can buy their cards and then they send them out to you.
Another site you can use is magicthegathering.com. This is one of the best sites that we like to use for especially me, who's only still a novice player, but I've been playing for 2 years. This is called building on a budget. You can actually click on one of these things. How can you be? There can only be fun 5-color highlight. You can actually click on one of these articles, and it'll pull it up, and you can actually read of how to build a deck that you want. And this is being slow. There are some people that are really freaking cocky. They can kick your butt all the time. They know they can do it, and they show I'm gonna kick your butt. I got this card, and I'm like, that's annoying. Don't ever do that. If you know you can kill me, great. But if you do it, just don't boast it in my face. That's just annoying.
I met Eric Sluzars during one of our many introductory production classes where we wrote, directed, and acted in our own projects.
I got stabbed in the arm, and I'm covered in blood because I got stabbed in the arm.
Well, who would do something like that?
Eric plays Magic, a game that requires imagination.
What I like most about games, there's 3 parts I really enjoy. First part is the strategy. It's you got a deck that you know how it works. Number 2 is the interaction. It's I can meet so many people. I don't even know who the heck you are. I'll sit down and I'll play a game of Magic Cube, and we'll be at least decent acquaintances by the end of the night. Third is just basically, it's a fun game. It's chess without the pieces. It's you have a 60-card deck, set in front of you, you play the moves, it's your choice. There's rules, but then it's you have to play. Basically, a lot of it's your personality comes out. It's certain decks can really bring out, I'm a real dark person. I could be real evil and steal your soul, and I get life, and you'll lose. Or it's sort of your personality does come out when you play.
When Eric is not trying to steal someone's soul, he talks on the radio once a week on Wednesdays.
Do you honestly think that a teacher or a person that teaches this class could cause a person to fall asleep or not? Even though it's a cool title of class, like something that you really look forward to, but then you go and take the class, it's I am so bored.
Yeah, this reminds me of a geology teacher I used to have in high school where he'd go around in class, and when people fell asleep, he'd kick the bottom of a desk to wake them up. He'd just wander over and douche, and it was very amusing, but I think that's a good example of treating the symptom and not the problem, which might be that either we had really apathetic students or his class was boring. He's this big, tough football coach-looking guy, and he did the most girliest sneeze ever, and the class broke out laughing. That's the only thing I remember from his class.
All right, we're going to take a quick music break because, we need to get something to drink. Something to drink because our mouths are probably dry from talking about that. But, we got a caller. All right, Jeff, what do you got?
Thank you for calling the IU Honesty. How may I help you?
Would you like to have fries?
This is boring.
Much to their dismay, the phone kept ringing.
So easy, you want to... Oh, wait.
We have a caller.
Phone call.
Thank you for calling the IU Honesty. How may I help you?
After the phone's battery was removed, it was easy to see the spirit of the show was also taken away. Winter War is a gaming convention that takes place annually in Champaign, Illinois, where gamers come from all around to get their homemade games published. We chatted with Christopher and Red about their game designs.
Yeah, we have padded swords we hit each other with.
Ah, well.
It's full contact. It's
full contact sports simulation medieval combat.
So is that why you have the leather armor, I take it?
Yeah. If you wear armor, you get an extra hit. When you wear, because if I get hit in the arm, my arm's gone. If I get hit in the armor, I can take 2 hits.
$3. I'll take your word for it. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 only at number 3. It's yours.
The body armor is actually based off Roman designs. It's the segmented lorica.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
But the shoulders and the thigh plates are Japanese influence.
My suit of armor that he built me took half a cow.
We do this for the fun. We're all volunteers. It's a not-for-profit organization. We're here to have fun. We're here to enjoy games and enjoy the gaming experience.
So the first thing we do in Bull Rush is we roll to see who goes first. It's very important for every game you play. Whatever die result you get to place on the board.
People say games, that's like blackjack, poker. It's none of that sort of stuff that you've walked around and you've seen. It's historical miniatures and role-playing and that sort of stuff. So it's a lot of a very family atmosphere. We've got kids here. And so it's a fun time.
Now, if your die is higher than an opponent's and you place it next to it, it lowers or removes theirs. If it's tied with them, you go into what we call Bull Rush, in which you you bid on poker hand.
Okay, $1 trivia. Trivial pursuit. $1, $1, $1. Everybody had one at one time, and now it's yours. The World Conquest game, plastic pieces. They've added 10 millimeter size miniatures. Why?
Being where we are, we attract people from Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, Missouri, and farther away, New York, Pennsylvania, for some of the more interesting games that we offer.
Lauren's here. This is his first time ever. He's been playing Bull Rush here for about the last 30 minutes. He'd never played before. Brett and I both are in the company that made this. He builds the games and I try to market them.
Setting up a game called Escape from Uranus. This is going to be like a sci-fi RPG, role-playing game. I usually have another game that I played earlier that I've been running for about 5 years. But
what other game is that?
It's 55 days on Uranus.
A lot of these people, especially in the room you've gone through, have taken hours and hours and hours of preparation to put together the games they're going to present here. And so, it's a lot of work and a lot of research, because some of these guys have worked on a lot of the details that go behind the games they're going to present. It may seem just like a bunch of numbers and some rolling and some dice, but behind it is some actual research and some actual number crunching on the sort of quote-unquote the reality of that situation.
It's difficult to reach a conclusion when the subject matter probably doesn't need one. Gaming culture is something that will always be present in our society, and it is something that is constantly changing over time. As for the people that play these games, obviously there's a wide variety of personas. The ones that play for leisure must come to accept the ones that play to escape their own reality, and popular opinion suggests that the ones that don't play should stay neutral.
Now if you're a geek, you're kind of accepted, and stereotypes are kind of lame now. I don't care. I don't think anybody else cares. We all label each other, but it's all in good fun.